Hi everybody, it's June the 2nd and a little while since we did a video, an update on what's going on in the greenhouse and the polytunnel. So I thought it was about time we had a look round. There's quite a bit to show you, so without more ado we'll take a little tour. Okay, well here we are in the polytunnel, and as you can see it's all tomatoes, or mostly tomatoes, which it would be at this time of year I guess. We've got a lot of tender plants which love the heat in here, and boy has it been hot. We've had such a hot May and into June. We've just been watering really. To think only a few weeks ago, if you saw the video we did on these before, they were covered in fleece. And I was wondering whether to plant out because I was worried about frost, and it couldn't be more different now. So yeah, we've got tomatoes in here. They're growing up strings, as you might be able to see, and they go right up to the eaves, which is quite a good height to this polytunnel. Quite an unusual shape, which gives you more height for more trusses, which is brilliant. So I'll probably get 2 more trusses per plant in here than I will in the greenhouse, which I'll show you the greenhouse plants in a moment. So yeah, they're as you see, planted up strings. We have, just to make the maximum use of space, got some dwarf beans planted in front of those. Makes it a bit difficult, a bit more difficult when it comes to looking after the tomato crop, but at the same time just means you get a little bit more out of the space that you've got in here. Pan round and show you, yeah, it really is mostly tomatoes. Got some carrots here, so we've got Amsterdam Forcing, which are just going to be little finger carrots sown in March. Got a pair of blackbirds nesting just outside the polytunnel, and they love to dig in the garden compost I put over these beds looking for worms. There's just so many worms in it, and they've uncovered my carrots, but it does mean that I can show you what they're looking like at the moment. So finger carrots really, and just about sort of ready for pulling. Other than that, more tomatoes there at the other end, and a mixture of varieties. The ones you're looking at right at the very far end there, they'll look much the same of course, but ones you're looking at there are yellow Mimi, so they're a nice yellow cherry tom, and they should have nice long trusses on them. They're forming really quite nicely now, so as you see we're going to get some nice long trusses of yellow tomatoes and yellow cherry toms off of those. Then you've got a variety called Riesling, which is a red cherry tom, which looks very nice, an F1 variety. And moving on down here, we've got good old Elsa Craig, which is just a standby, which I like to grow, you know, for sandwiches and soups and that sort of thing. So just one that we grow all the time. Next to that, we've got Pink Charmer, a nice pink one which I've never grown before, pinky red fruits. And then down the end there we've got one called Super Mama, which is more of a souping tomato, a nice big beefsteak type, which will give us some nice big tomatoes, I hope. Over this side, I've got a milk bottle with wormwee in it from the compost, from my worm bin, which is doing really well at the moment, and that will be used as diluted and used on the plants. But here, more what I'm trying to show you is the sweet corn. So this is an F1 variety called My Fair Lady, which I've never grown before, and it has nice yellow cobs, but it has black kernels dotted in it as well, so it's quite a striking one. So never grown it, but I think it will like the heat in here. And what I'm going to do is plant either some lettuces. I might even experiment with some watermelons. Watermelons are traditionally enormous plants, but I'll show you in the greenhouse. We've got one called Little Darling, which is a much smaller variety, and I might just be able to get 1 or 2 plants in there. Otherwise I'm going to interplant with lettuces to make the most of the space that there will be between those plants. And then down here, if you've been following the videos, these are just, you might have seen me plant these are Boltardi beetroot, really had to stand a test this year because it's been so hot. I thought even Boltardy was going to bolt, but in fact I've only had one bolter. These are multi-sown, so there's 3, 4 or 5 little beetroots in a clump, and they'll never get very big, but they'll be sort of pickling sized beetroots if you like. Nice and small and sweet, sort of golf ball size, and looking forward to those. Those are ready for pulling now, and we'll start eating those at the weekend, I think. Other than that, if I just spin you around gently so you don't get seasick, very little else in here really. We've got some space up this end which we're going to plant peppers, and we've got a few peppers here ready to go out, just a mixture of sweet and mild chili peppers, and some courgettes which are going out onto a bed outside. A new bed I've made, a no dig bed with some cardboard. I'm just going to put some compost over the top, and plant those out, and some mixture of other things like lettuces and beetroot as well. So that's what I've got in the polytunnel. As I say, mostly a tomato fest, but they're growing so fast. I think within the last week probably grown a good 6 inches, so every day they'll need side shooting and twisting around the strings, and yeah, it's just lovely to see the growth at the moment in the plants with the lovely weather we've had. And I hope that things are growing well for you too. So that's the polytunnel, and we'll move on into the greenhouse. So in the greenhouse now, as you can see, it's quite busy. We've got some nice coleus here. I'll grow coleus every year, I do love them, and they've been recently potted, and they'll make nice big plants for the summer. We'll just dot those about in the borders, wherever there's any gaps in the flower borders, and I quite like those. Next to those, we've got some tomatoes. So this is Veranda Red. Never gets very big. It's a lovely little bushy tomato. I've not grown this one particularly. I've grown this one before, but it has little tiny cherry toms on it. Great for the patio. You can see it's the one tomato this year I'm not side shooting. It's a bush type, so you just leave it to produce side shoots, and it produces a lovely little bush. So I've got high hopes for that one this year. It's a great one if you haven't got much space. Obviously you can still grow a few tomatoes. Got a mixture of chilies, and these are the things going to be planted out this weekend into the polytunnel. Not the biggest, could have done with starting them a little bit earlier really, but to be honest, I haven't got the heat in the greenhouse really to start them when I should do January, February, so these were sown very late February, March. A little bit small, but I'm hoping with a good summer we'll get a good crop of peppers. There's all sorts there, some chilies, some sweet peppers. There's one called Lemon Drop which we've grown before, which is lovely, and I know Tony likes it. There's jalapenos there as well. Prairie Fire, which is a smaller one, which will probably stay in pots. Yeah, so quite a mixture. And then, if we take you up the end here a little bit, we've got cucumbers. We've got a mini munch, one called Mini Munch, and another full-size cue called Pasanda. And they were only potted this weekend, but already we're getting some little cucumbers, as you can see. So high hopes for those, and I grow those up a trellis at the end of the greenhouse. You'll see that on this side of the greenhouse everything's in self-watering pots, so they've got a little wick coming out the bottom of the pot into a reservoir at the bottom, and you can put food and water in there, and just let them get on with it really. So you don't really have much maintenance to do at all with those. And the same on this side with the tomatoes. They're in reservoirs. The only thing with it is that obviously you lose a bit of length of stem on your tomatoes because they're already starting sort of 2 foot off the ground, and in a small greenhouse like this it's not long before they hit the eaves, so you probably lose a truss or two on the tomatoes that are in the polytunnel. The same varieties in here. There is one called Honeycomb as well, which is up the end there, and that's another nice cherry tom. But same varieties as in the polytunnel I just showed you, just more of them, and they need tying in. I've been side shooting, but it's about time I got tying, because they're starting to go past the stage where they're going to flop over. But yeah, so mostly tomatoes in here, peppers which are waiting to go out, and they'll go out at the weekend into the polytunnel. Maybe a few outdoors, but I think I'm pushing my luck if I put them outdoors. The only other thing I've got in here, which might interest you, and I don't know if you've tried it, just see if I can move you on up there, is watermelon. Yeah, and we're trying a little watermelon called Little Darling. Again, a little bit late, should be a bit bigger than this now, but these will be planted out in the weekend. Probably again in a polytunnel because they like a bit of heat. In fact, the hotter the better. But this one is bred for the UK. Produces little sweet watermelons, and it will grow outside quite nicely, perhaps better than traditional watermelons. So yeah, high hopes for that one. We'll get that planted at the weekend and update you on how we get on. So that's an update on the greenhouse and polytunnel. A little bit later I'll do one on the mini plot that we've put together, and see how we're getting on out there and do an update on that.